Hi there guys, and welcome to section 2 where we're going to be talking about views. Now, views are really important when it comes down to Monday.com. The thing is that typically a view can give you a new perspective as to how to look at the data on the table. It can also help you to pretty much minimize what you need to see. For instance, one of the things that you'll probably realize is that when you're trying to build these tables, you might have these columns on the main table that's just, I've built boards where there's like 50 to 60 columns. And obviously trying to go all the way to the right-hand side can be quite annoying. So you kind of want to minimize exactly what you're looking at. So what we're going to do in this lesson is I'm going to take you through the number of views that you can go through. Okay. And I'm also going to show you how you can create your own personal view and how you can reduce the amount of information on that, as well as how you can use conditional coloring. Right, with that, let's jump in. Well, obviously my board is looking a little bit different than when you last saw it, so you'll see I've created my task list project, I've got my groups over here, and you can see over here we're starting with our main table. Now, the first view that I really want to maybe take you through is I'm going to take you through the table. Okay. Now, in my table, right, I'm going to just call this Darren's tasks. Okay. So in a company, there could be multiple people, and I can see Noam's stuff and I can see Ian's stuff, but I don't really want to see that. And I also don't want to see the hourly rate and the time tracking. I honestly only want to see when is it due, what is the status, and maybe the task type. Okay. So what you can do is you have got your filter over here, sort, hide, and then you've also got pin, item height, conditional coloring, and item default values. Okay, so I'm just going to go through all of these. So first off, let's say I want to filter, and I want to filter where person is Darren. Okay, save to the view. So every time now I go to Darren's view, suddenly I'm only seeing Darren's stuff. Okay, this is awesome. However, I can still see this information. Okay. Now maybe what I want to do is I want to sort by due date. Okay. So I'm going to add the sort, and you can see I can sort it by column, and I'm doing it by there. Now hidden columns, this is where you can hide. So now I can see all of the columns over here, but I don't want to see all of these. I only want to see the person, the status, the due date, and maybe the task type. Oh, and of course the time tracking. Okay, so now you can see from this view to this view, it's a lot smaller. And then what I also possibly want to do is I want to maybe color, and I want to say I can color the cell or I can color the row. And maybe what I want to say is I want to color anything that's this week. So when due date is this week, I want it to be colored red. Or if I said this month, now you can see that all of them are colored red. Okay, so now I can see all of my red tasks. And if I had to add in another product, so let's go task 78, and you had to put Darren in, and I had to say September, you'll see that it isn't colored because it's not in this month. And what's really cool about this is that it's obviously dynamic. When September hits, then it'll be September. Okay. And that is really how easy it is to kind of create your view. So remember your filter, remember sort, remember hide, and remember your conditional coloring. Another thing also that could be quite important is you can also pin columns. So for instance, if you're working with the main table, so let's actually just duplicate this and just say a pin example, right? And maybe what I want to do is I want to pin the column of let's say task ID. Okay. What happens is, what I want to show you over here is that if task ID is all the way at the end, it's going to pin every single column before time. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to bring the task ID forward. Right. So we want to say, I only want to see task ID. So now what I can do is that as I move, you can see the task I do moving. It's basically like freezing a panel, right? And that is pretty much the way that you can create tables. Now the next view I'm going to show you is the Gantt. Okay, now the Gantt chart, you can see over here, we can see all of our tasks. You can come in over here, and there's really a lot that you can do this. You can group it by person. So now you can see Darren Arbuckle, all of his stuff. And then you can also color, and we can say color by group. So now I can see exactly where all the items are, or I can color it by status, or again, I can color it by person. Okay. You can then also create your critical paths. I'm not going to go over that stuff in this video. And over here, you can also label by person, or you can label by due date. Let's actually do that. Okay. So this is a way that you can create your Gantt, and you can auto fit, you can do it by months, and so on. Okay, so that's pretty much your Gantt chart. The next one that you can look at is you can do the calendar view. So here you can see the calendar of all the items, you can see it by task, and again what you can do is you can come in and you can color by, we've got status, I maybe want to do person. So now I can see Darren Arbuckle is red, Ian Lewin is this light yellow, Noam is there. One of the suck things though is that you can't change the colors. That's, yeah, it just unfortunately sucks. You can also do it by week and by day. Okay. The next view that we're going to go is we're going to talk about the Kanban. Now typically if you work from Trello, you can see that we can have our stuff over here. And what's really cool about this is you can see over here in the status, you can pretty much organize how you want it to look. So what we can do is we can come in here and we can say, well, what are the items that we want to have in here? So we can say due date, we can have task type, and you can basically create the cards. And what's really cool is that if you move the item over, just to show you, you can see its status, and as it moves over, it becomes paused. So this is really a cool way. And also one of the cool things about this, again, you can create your own Kanban specifically for you. Because obviously I only really care what I'm doing over here. I don't need to see what Noam and Ian is doing. Okay. So that is pretty much a quick rundown of your Kanban view. The next view I'm going to take you through is I'm going to take you through the blank view. Now the blank view is where you can kind of create your custom workspace. You can bring in a table, you can bring in some dashboards and so on. So how about this? Let us bring a table. Right, we can bring in our table, and here we can say, well, what do we want to see on this table? So on this table, I only want to see the name, the person, the status, and the due date. Cool. There we go. I've got my table. And then what I can do is I can add a chart, and I can say, okay, well, how many of my tasks are here? And you can really customize these to do what you want it to do. So we'll count items. We can see that we've got the status done. And what are we counting? And are we filtering by group? No, I want to clear all, and I'll save to this view. So there we go. Now I can see the task list, and I can see exactly what needs to be done. And what's really cool is I've got this chart over here as well. So I can see what items are stuck and so on. And you can basically, let's say that I want to bring that there. Let's maybe duplicate this, and we can turn this into a donut chart. There we go. And let's maybe make that smaller. And there we go. There is our blank chart. So now we can see exactly how many charts, what is the status of our items, and what is in a pie graph, in a bar graph, and in a table. Okay, so you've seen the blank view, Kanban, calendar, Gantt. The next view I'll take you through very quickly is I'm also going to show you, you have map view, which you only use if you're really using locations, and workload. This is a really cool one. So what we can do, let's just refresh over here quickly. Okay, it's refreshing. So the workload, this really shows the capacity. So now the way that you can look at your workload is you can say, okay, where this due date basically determines exactly where it's going to go into this week. Okay, So I can see exactly Darren has got one task there. Then you can say what is the resource type, and you can talk about effort. So for instance, if you have effort, you can then say hourly rate, or you could do it on time tracking. So now I can actually measure the amount of hours Darren has spent on this item. Now obviously the thing is that Darren hasn't spent 176 hours in one day. It's not possible to do that. So you just have to be really careful about how you use this effort and capacity side. And again, you can also color this by group, and you can color it by, let's go with person. Okay, so that is pretty much, so this is pretty much the workload view. So it's quite simple, quite easy. And that is pretty much how your views work. There's a lot more that you can go through, but these typically, Gantt, calendar, Kanban, blank view is quite popular, and the way that you create your own tables. Those are typically the views that you're going to be creating. If you do have locations, the map view is actually really cool, and you should definitely take a check at it out. But anyway, hope you found some good value in this. Take care.